The City of Phoenix is saving lives with defibrillators, a new helicopter, and tasers. I'm Councilman Dave Siebert. We'll talk about that next on The Issues. Welcome to On the Issues. I'm Phoenix City Councilman Dave Siebert. As chair of the Public Safety Subcommittee, in 2001 I spearheaded the purchase of automatic external defibrillators, or AEDs, that have saved the lives of 7 people at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Now there are more than 120 units in the city, 50 at the airport, and others throughout the city buildings. Assistant Fire Chief Bob Kahn and Sherry Gibbons, Community Health and Prevention Program Manager with the Fire Department, are here today to tell us more about these life-saving devices. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, Bob, I can tell you that you were there from the beginning, looking at these devices and saying, you know, we need to get them out into the public. And you've had them, a more advanced version maybe, but you've had them on your fire trucks for many, many years now.
Over a decade now, I think, early 90s, yeah, so we've had them a while.
Right, and you guys have saved just many, many lives with them. And then to have the idea that we came up with, let's get them out into the public. And you know, when we started, it wasn't an easy process, was it?
Well, I think there was sort of a stereotypical thought of defibrillation, meaning the old medic deals where you'd see them rubbing the paddles and shocking people. And
the old show Emergency.
Emergency is what I was trying to think of. And these units aren't like that. They're automatic and they save lives. And we knew that, but we knew that it was going to be an uphill battle because of sort of the mindset that folks had as far as that sort of patient treatment and the liability that would be associated with defibrillating somebody in the field.
I remember there was so much resistance that I finally was frustrated, and I bought the first 3 of these units out of my district budget because I have total control over that budget, as minimal as it is. We bought the first 3 to put out there, and then City Manager Frank Fairbanks came in and helped, and the team, and Sherry, you were involved. And tell us a little bit about how this works.
You know what, these machines are so very simple to use now because they are automated. They do all the thinking basically for you, and they voice prompt and give little lights to tell you where to push and what to do. They're very, very simple. Just about anyone could use one with just a very short, minimal training. And
so let's take the airport, for example. You've trained airport employees, a lot of the police officers that are out there, because they have a faster response time since they're on their bicycles, they're out there in the airport, and they really do a great job. But they can actually grab one of these units if there's a call for help and be there faster than the fire department could be there.
Right. The whole idea is the quicker the defibrillation comes, the chance for survival increases. So getting them out there just all over the campus of the airport and getting them at the patient's bedside as quickly as possible is what it's all about.
So let's talk a little bit about how, let's say, a police officer at the airport, if that happened to be the first person there or one of the airport employees, how they would put this into
how to use
action.
Okay. You want me to go ahead and just demonstrate?
Sure.
Okay. The machine, once again, is really very simple, and there's just a simple on and off button here, and you just simply turn it on. It's going to voice prompt now, okay? So it'll talk to us.
Apply pads to patient's bare chest. Plug in pads connector next to flashing light.
You can see the light.
Apply pads. Plug in connector. Analyzing heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient. Shock advised. Charging. Stay clear of patient. Deliver shock now.
Now just
press
a simple,
the orange button now.
Simple push of the button.
Shock delivered.
It'll go through and analyze series
Analyzing heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient.
At this point it seems like forever, but it's really only about 10 or 15 seconds.
Shock advised. Charging. Stay clear of patient. Deliver shock now. Shock delivered.
So the only thing that
Analyzing heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient. Apply pads.
So the only thing that you actually didn't do in this demonstration, in this test, was just take the cover off of the pad and stick it on the chest.
Correct. And the pads actually have pictures that are labeled to show you exactly where to place the pads. So you just stick them right on the patient's chest and turn the machine on, and it takes it from there.
And so if, let's say there was a police officer, which has happened on 7 occasions so far, but there was a police officer, let's say, out there, and they grabbed this unit, which are kept charged in very
Ready to go.
ready to go at the airport in very visible locations that the officers know exactly where they're at and the other airport employees know. They simply take it to the person, take the protective coating off the pad,
Correct.
place them where the picture shows,
Correct.
and then go through just what you went through.
Correct.
And it's as simple as that. And if the person doesn't need the shock, it analyzes and it will not produce a shock.
Correct.
Even if you push the button, it wouldn't do
You cannot
it.
make the machine shock or charge. It can only do what it wants to do and what it interprets the patient to need.
So it truly is automatic.
Automated. Yes, it certainly is.
You know, that is fantastic, because I can remember from the time that we put the first phase of these AEDs in the airport, which was what, January?
Yeah, January, February 2001 is when it
And the
it
program
began.
really didn't kick off till February, and they had already saved the first life
Correct.
before we really even kicked off the program.
That's
And there's
very
been
true.
seven lives, if I'm not mistaken, saved by this device that had a few of us not got together and said, you know, we need to do this. Because there truly was a liability issue of, oh, are we going to hurt somebody? Is somebody going to sue us because we do this? But you know something? Right now, there are cities taking our lead and are doing what we've already done a few years ago, learning from our examples that, guess what? There is no liability because the machine cannot make a mistake.
Correct. That's very true.
That is just such an awesome device.
These devices were placed in wall mount units at the airport, and then fire and police bike teams as well have them on their bikes. So.
That is just awesome. So, Bob, what do you think of it?
Just the fact that you saved 7 lives, and it's the gift that keeps giving makes it pretty incredible, because I think that's just the beginning. And over the period of a decade, you're looking at saving close to 100 folks that just go through the system that wouldn't have survived. And that's the bottom line. These are actually more effective in that chain of survival than CPR. And it's a medical part of what we need in order to save lives, along with the response of the paramedic units that get out there and getting them to a hospital.
I could encourage, and maybe we take this opportunity, that any private businesses that have a large number of people either passing through their facility or working there, it would pay to buy these. These are what, about $3,000 a piece?
Is that?
Yeah, they're actually coming in a little bit less than that these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if they could possibly purchase these, train some people, and put them out there, because I guarantee you, with large numbers of people, like we do in our senior centers, City Hall, the airport,
Exactly.
that they are going to be used.
Oh, absolutely. That, and I would just add to that, places that, high rises, places where there's a slower response time for medical personnel to get there.
Greater need for them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you both for being here on this very important life-saving subject. When we come back, a new helicopter that will help the city save more lives. Stay tuned.
Jay Latham has a full-time job. But today, his part-time job will take him into the eye of a hurricane. Being a hurricane hunter may be a part-time job, but it's a full-time experience. And just one of many exciting careers in the Air Force Reserve.
It's beautiful, beautiful sight from here.
Call 1-800-257-1212. Air Force Reserve. Above and beyond.
Welcome back to On the Issues. I'm City Councilman Dave Siebert. Phoenix firefighters and police officers are out there every day risking their lives to keep our community safe. Bob Kahn is back with Lieutenant Alex Obis from the police department to tell us about a new helicopter the city is going to purchase that will help us with these life-saving rescue efforts. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Lieutenant, let's talk a little bit, since you head up the air unit, and we're currently working with single-engine helicopters and making some fabulous rescue attempts and putting out brush fires. Tell us the importance to the police officers for having this new twin-engine rescue firefighting helicopter.
Well, for many years now, we've partnered with the fire department to do mountain rescues and also various portions of the police aspect of the job. And more we see, especially in our hot time temperatures in the summertime, it becomes a major issue of safety, especially when Bob has one of his TRT people and a victim hanging underneath the helicopter. Got together and started putting together plans for a twin-engine helicopter to provide us an extra margin of safety. As Bob and you know, when we do a mountain rescue, you've got a patient and a firefighter hanging on a 75-foot rope beneath the single-engine helicopter. Should something happen to that engine, the patient, the firefighter, and the crew are going to be in severe jeopardy. The idea of purchasing a twin-engine helicopter gives you that added safety, so should you lose one engine, you can still perform certain functions safely, still save the life of the patient, the firefighter, and the crew, and get that job done.
And have extra lifting capacity.
Correct.
With the density altitude problems in the
Correct.
summertime. You know, I can remember working on this. I think it was '98, the year I was vice mayor, and I went to former deputy city manager George Britton, and we were talking about how important this issue was because of just the jeopardy that we could be in, putting our firefighters and police officers and of course the victims in danger when we're just pushing these aircraft to the maximum limits, especially with the heat that we have in the summertime. So Bob, let's talk a little bit about, from the firefighter's perspective, seeing this new piece of equipment that is a shared expense, evenly split between the fire department and the police department, and having it online.
The helicopter corps has become just part of our special operation team. We go on over 100 mountain rescues. There's firefighting capability with the helicopters. This enhances our ability to complete those functions safely for the firefighters, for the police officers, and deliver that service to the people that are in an emergency or in the path of a fire if it's a brush fire. It's the state-of-the-art way to provide that protection at a level that brings us a lot more comfort. We quite honestly couldn't do the rescues we do right now if there weren't people like Alan and his group that are such capable pilots that can get us in there in that marginal area where the temperatures are getting around 100 degrees. We see a lot of people go down and they need our help. That's not an easy time for us to make a rescue, and if it weren't for their skill and the ability of the firefighters to package those patients up, we'd have to walk them down, and that could add an hour or more to that transport, getting that person to the hospital, which could be detrimental to their treatment. So you're talking about the state-of-the-art way to treat these people, and now you're actually enhancing their safety, the safety of the police officers and those firefighters.
You know, this was supposed to be in the last year of our bond program, which is still a few years away. And I remember last year with the Rodeo Chodesky fire, I went to City Manager Fairbanks, and to his credit, he tried to push this up a little bit because we were lucky last year. The brush season in the valley was nowhere near as bad as it could have been. And we may not be this lucky this year or the year after. And so to Frank's credit, he pushed it up. And so you guys are going to actually be testing the proposed bidders' helicopters this summer during the heat, Lieutenant?
Correct. Well, we've got the RFP, or request for proposal, has been already published. We're anticipating that we should get the responses from some manufacturers by the end of this month, if not the middle of next month, and then July and August, when it's nice, hot and humid, we're going to bring these same proposed aircraft in to do our hot weather testing, and then we're going to have Bob's technical rescue people there on site as we bring each aircraft in, so they can give us their angle or their perspective of the helicopter.
So the pilots will get to review what they feel is the best helicopter. The fire department, who's going to be actually the ones possibly hanging underneath that helicopter, will also be evaluating them. So what we end up with will be clearly the best product for both departments.
We hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a vested interest by the firefighters, and I think it makes sense to have those pilots and those technical rescue firefighters working together on what the needs are and the issues, and it makes sense to do it by committee, especially when you're talking about something that's so critical as the service that they're going to be delivering.
Right. And this is one of those examples where you have the city council, police department, and fire department all working together to make sure that the product we end up with will best serve the department, the citizens of Phoenix. And we're talking a major expenditure. As I recall, it's around a $4 million item.
$4.68 million.
$4.68 million. It's a lot of money, but I tell you what, you know, when we're going to be saving lives with it, and I have to give credit to the air unit. They are the best pilots in the country. They are just absolutely phenomenal, the training that they go through. And if you give them our thanks for doing a wonderful job, and also to the firefighters that are on the rescue teams that have to hang under those helicopters, we're getting them a better product, and thank you both for being part of the solution to this problem.